Good evening and welcome to the Longmont Museum. It's great to see all of you. My name is Jim Fladmark and I'm the Special Events and Rentals Coordinator here at the Longmont Museum. And we have a great evening for you here tonight. So before we start, I wanted to mention a few things. We have the Teepee to Tiny House exhibit here that opened a few weeks ago. And Stephen Lapointe, who I'll introduce in a few moments, he helped us a lot with all of the teepees and getting us educated about all of that. So he did a lot of help to the museum just to be authentic about our presentation of the Teepee to Tiny House exhibit. So the thank yous I want to express are to the Scientific and Cultural Facility District, to the Stewart Family Foundation, to Philip Ferrante and the Longmont Community Foundation, to the Friends of the Longmont Museum, and to all the museum donors and members. Do we have any museum members here tonight? Great. As Justin says, we can't do what we do without you, so thank you. I also wanted just to ask, is there anyone who has never been to a powwow before? Okay, there's a few of you. Okay, well, enjoy. So before we begin, I wanted to read the land acknowledgement statement. And before I read the statement, I'll just read a few comments. This was approved by the Longmont City Council on July 13th, 2021. A land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes and respects Indigenous peoples and traditional stewards of this land and the enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples and their traditional territories. For non-Indigenous communities, land acknowledgement is a powerful way of showing respect and honoring the Indigenous peoples of the land on which we work and live. Acknowledgement is a simple way of resisting the erasure of Indigenous histories and working towards honoring and inviting truth. So the land acknowledgement that was approved by the Longmont City Council reads, it comes up on my phone. We acknowledge that Longmont sits on the traditional territory of the Cheyenne, Arapaho, Ute, the Lakota, and other Indigenous peoples. We honor the history and the living and spiritual connection that the first peoples have had with this land. It is our commitment to face the injustices that happened when the land was taken and to educate our communities, ourselves, and our children to ensure that these injustices do not happen again. Adopted by the Longmont City Council on July 13th, 2021. So with that, I'd like to welcome Stephen Lapointe and Big Eagle and the Colorado crew. Welcome.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for coming and coming out to support us here. So we've combined drum groups today. We have Big Eagle and Colorado crew. We also have our dance troupe here. We're the Mile High Powwow Experience. Many of us worked at many powwows all across Indian country. We've done powwows all across the metro area here. I run several. Just kind of let you know what a powwow is. It is a reflection of our ancient ways. The official powwow was given to us by the Omaha Nation. they have a dance just like this. They gave to all of our nations. So as we entered the reservation period, we weren't allowed our First Amendment rights. We weren't allowed citizenship, even though they promised us we would. My great-great-grandfather went to World War I, a non-citizen, came back, a non-citizen. It wasn't until 1924 he was allowed to vote. My great-grandfather was a Lakota code talker, one of 11 on our reservation. His language was never cracked by the Germans or the Japanese. 32 other tribes amongst us were also code talkers. I always want to acknowledge our ancestral warriors, our veterans. 20% of the United States military is Native American because this is our country too. And what you see here is an amalgamation of our Denver Metro and Front Range folks here. Many of us came here on relocation. Many of us came on our own after military service. We are your neighbors, your community members, your co-workers. So to destigmatize some of these things, we come out here and do these community outreaches just like this. And with that, we're going to do our grand entry. Then we're going to do our flag and victory song. The flag song is equivalent to the national anthem. And our victory song commemorates the time we come home victoriously. Whether we come home alive or in a box, we still come home. One of my family members, one of my uncles, is on the wall of Vietnam. When we sing these victory songs, it's for them who never made it home. My other grandfathers who came home with war scars, mentally and physically. We honor them when we sing these victory songs. So with that, we're going to do what's called a grand entry, where we line up. At a big powwow, we'll have hundreds of dancers, even thousands. But for you here, we get an intimate powwow experience. I'm going to go through each powwow dance, the history and the stories. And then we're going to go into our flute player. Then we're going to do some different types of dances, and we'll conclude. But thank you for your time and allowing us to come here and share this with you all. Thank you very much. So with that, we're going to line up for our grand entry. We're going to go to our drum group here, which is Big Eagle and Colorado crew combined. So whenever you're ready, boys, grand entry time. Mike man, turn me up and turn me on. So that is an example of our grand entry. At this time, I'm going to ask that we all rise as we go into our flag song and honor our servicemen and women abroad, taking those lonely posts, getting ready for the battle in Europe, not knowing when they're coming home. We're going to do the flag song in our language, and we're going to sing a victory song to commemorate those who never came home. So Big Eagle, whenever you're ready, boys, flag and victory. And now for the victory song. All right, ladies and gentlemen, how about that? Our flag and victory song. Now, traditionally, after that portion of the powwow, we introduce our color guard. Obviously, we didn't bring our color guard today. And then we go into a round of intertribals normally. That's how I run mine. That way we all could enjoy our drum here. A little bit about our drum. In our language, it's called chanchega, which means a wooden bowl. You guys can all take your seat. But this drum is the heartbeat of our nation. That means we treat it with respect like a member of our family. So to be a drum keeper, you have to treat one really good. You have to be respectful of your drum, store it properly. Our lead singer here, he takes his drum to ceremony. And that is one of the reasons why I asked that there be no alcohol today. So thank you for respecting that. We try to live that sober life when we have the ceremony ways. And as you know, a lot of our men and women were veterans. So before there was PTSD, a lot of our men and women turned to alcohol in defense of this country. So that is a misconception I wanted to clear up. A lot of them seen action. They turned to that bottle. And that's why we asked that's not here. So thank you all. And as we go into, thank you, yeah. As we go and we're gonna highlight each dance. So at this time, I'm gonna ask our women's traditional dancer to come on out here. Tara here, Tara Gover. She's a veteran herself. She's also a technology graduate, and she works for a big firm, and she does really well. Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. She's from the Oto Missouri Nation, and she's also Kikpu. And she's a very awesome seamstress, and she knows her ways. So the women's Southern traditional is very elegant and beautiful. So you're gonna witness that today as she dances. So that's a little bit of highlight. So this is the most traditional style we get in our powwow ways. So as we sing this song for her, 2 push-ups or 4? 2 push. So our women's traditional, they're judged at powwows, if it's a contest powwow. Just like a rodeo, your outfit has to be made a certain way, accordance with your tribe. Your feathers have to be on a certain way. The way you dance, the way you stop with the drum, it's a contest between you and the drum. So with that, we're gonna go to our drum here. I almost said our host drum. Big Eagle, Colorado Crew, whenever you're ready, our women's traditional Southern style. right, let's give a round of applause to Tara Gover. So if you noticed her fringe of her shawl, that is also judged on how her shawl fringe is moved. So it's those little intricacies in our traditional ways that are judged. So at this time, I'm gonna ask our men's Southern straight dancer. So as you see, I'm a Northern traditional dancer. We're gonna do a little comparison. So in the Oklahoma way, the men's Southern does not have a bustle like I am wearing. They weren't allowed to do that. The Indian agents in the army did not want them wearing eagle feathers, which is a symbol of our ultimate spirituality. So they had to evolve and do a different style. They call this the gentleman's style. And again, you'll notice the intricacies of that tradition. So when we bring these to you, oftentimes people want to see the fancy dancers. There's not many of them left anymore, especially after COVID. We had a lot pass away, a lot not wanting to do it anymore. So what we're bringing back is our traditional style. And in our men's traditional way, his garb is that of a warrior. If you see the trailer on his back, that wipes away. The enemy will track you. Back in the day, those used to be longer and they'd wipe your tracks away, just like mines do here. He wears his garters and bells differently as well as leggings. Now in Oklahoma, this is really hot for him to wear. So they have to powwow at night. And Tara's also from Oklahoma, so that's how they do things there. It's a different style. Our drum group is a Northern style. That is true. So a lot of the ceremony dances come in the daytime before we start powwow. So the powwow was brought upon during the Wild West shows. So you see Buffalo Bill hired a lot of Indians to go across the world and bring our dances. That's how powwow has evolved, to show our ever-changing art, culture to everyone. So this is a representation of traditional garb done in a modern way, such as myself. And we're gonna do the gentleman's dance here, the Southern straight. So this is a straight song. We'll do some other dances later, but I wanted to highlight the Southern style. So Big Eagle, whenever you're ready. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the Oklahoma Southern style gentleman's dance. Phil's also a graduate of Stanford in law. He's a lawyer, used to be, and now he's the director of Adams 12 Indian Education. Let's give him a round of applause. So now we're going to go into my portion here. This is a men's Northern traditional style. As you see, when we did the grand entry, I was making gestures to clear the arena of any bad energy, bringing blessings of my eagles to this ground here. That's how we do it. So with that, you're going to see almost like an art style dance. I'm going to tell a story when I do this. Now, I'm a little bit older and out of shape, so I can't do 10 push-ups like I used to, but we're going to do 2 push-ups in the northern style for myself here. You're going to see the difference between the northern and southern. And then after this, I'll explain what that song meant to me. And there's a story that I hold to myself, and I'll share with you guys. So with that, whenever ready, Big Eagle. And as you can tell, that is an art style dance. So I was telling a story, a little bit about my background. I was a first responder for a long time. I've been in 2 mass shootings and 9 other smaller ones. But I did that out of love for my community, for all of us here. And so I was dodging bullets in honor of my brothers and sisters who wear that badge, that shield, in any capacity. So I want to thank all of our first responders, firefighters, EMTs. So at this time, we're going to go into one of our more contemporary styles, which is our ladies' fancy. So we have 2. So this style came about after World War II and World War I, and it evolved. Our young ladies used to nothing but traditional dance. When they went into mourning, it was like going into a cocoon, until one young lady had a vision to wrap that shawl around her arm, around her body, and emulate the butterfly. So that's how the start and the story, one of them, created the women's fancy shawl dance. So they started competing with the men fancy dancers, and it evolved into what you see today. You're going to notice a lot more fancier footwork. They're also going to tell their own story. It won't be as intricate, but it's going to be amazing. So when you see them, you'll know they're fancy dancers. So we're going to go to Big Eagle and Colorado Crew. Whenever you're ready, boys. The fancy shawl ladies. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Our lady's fancy shawl. So at this time, I'm going to introduce our men's grass dance. So our men grass dance come from a long line of grass dancers. In order to be a grass dancer, you had to be accepted into a warrior society. So a little bit about our headdresses here. As you see, all of us have that. We have to have a ceremony in order to wear these. These are made of porcupine guard hair. So to wear your armor is a form of protection, because a porcupine is dangerous to try to mess with, right? So this guards our head. Now back in the day, we used to have different styles. Some of those are relevant throughout powwow country today. But we have 2 feathers, or we have 2 sets of plumes here. Those are our brothers. They'll dance with us. So back in the day, our grass dances were our scouts. And all of you who are in the military know who Cav Scouts were. These gentlemen sought out the enemy, looked for track. In ceremony, we'd ask them to find suitable trees for Sundance. They'd also stomp down the grass for us before we set up our homes, our tipishtola. Teepees were our homes back then. Our grass dancers would come. Traditionally, they'd wear deer toes to scare all the snakes out. Stomp down the grass and bless, just like I did in our grand entry, to clear out bad energy, because we're setting up our home there. So these men, descendants of Chief Big Eagle, Chief Hawk, and Chief Sitting Bull, they're going to come do this grass dance. Now the start of this dance came about 400 or 500 years ago. One of our men was born deformed and he couldn't dance like the regular men. The vision he was given was he has to dance a certain way, almost like he's falling. That's how the grass dance originated. And what you see today is the modern artistic version of that. So these guys are also our singers and ceremony dancers. So I'm going to join the drum. And I want you guys to, do you guys want 4? 4 push-ups? All right. All right, so we're going to give you guys 4 push-ups. All right, hold on. So at this time, I'm going to join our drum real quick, and we're going to give you guys the grass dance. give our grass dancers a round of applause for that beautiful dance. So at this time, we're going to be calling upon our flute player here, Mr. Calvin Standing Bear. Comes from a chief line, Chief Standing Bear. His artwork can be seen at the Denver Art Museum. His father was a Vietnam veteran who served with my uncles. Calvin here is going to do an opening song, a prayer song, and we're going to back him up on that. So a little bit of history on our prayer songs. We weren't allowed to sing them until 1978 is when we got our First Amendment rights. Our men and women came back home from Vietnam and pressed for our rights, for our First Amendments to be heard. The prayer song you're going to hear comes from our family of the Sichangula Kota Oyate. Sung in that fashion, this is a real sacred song. Then he's going to start by playing the flute and telling you the stories of these different songs here. So at this time, let's give a round of applause to Calvin Standing Bear.
Hello, relatives. Calvin Standing Bear Jr. here. Come from two nations, Lakota and Navajo. I am an upcoming flutist here in Colorado. And actually, I started off singing traditional songs, ceremonial songs at a young age, probably maybe 7 years old. Started off going into ceremony. And then gradually went into social dance songs, which you hear today, powwow singing, all taught by my father, Calvin Standing Bear Sr., and my grandmother, my late grandmother, Neva Standing Bear. So I want to share a prayer song with you guys because, you know, I feel like the Native American flute has a lot more to offer than relaxing and stuff like that, the way I was taught. So it's kind of more of from our people. It did come for courting and stuff like that, and marriage and stuff like that, but it also has a emotional standard. So long time ago, when these people were going through heartache or maybe a heartbreak, or they lost somebody, some sort like that, or they missed somebody, you know, this flute was brought to our people here, you know, with the sacrifice from the tree people. We got our songs from the birds and all these other elements that we get to play with. So I'd like to sing this healing song first, following that song. Tonka shala waka tonka haya hoye waye lo yo hai hoy tonka shala waka tonka haya hoye waye lo yo hai Shela makeayo maka kijelo yo hey hoy toka shala wakataka haya hoye wayelo yo hey hoy toka shela wakataka haya hoye wayelo jalo, hey, ho. So this song I'm about to perform now is part of a healing song I made for my relatives that passed along. So my brother, he just recently passed this past winter, and then my grandmother, my niece, all my relatives. But I didn't make it for myself. I made it for the people too, so we can all get some kind of healing. I know we lost some people, so I'd like to perform this. So this other song I'm about to perform is called Prairie Nights. I got this song of a nice ride through my home up in South Dakota. So it's real beautiful up there. And a song came to mind, seeing some of the evening birds. So I wanted to share this song with you guys, Prairie Nights. So one of these stories I know about this flute is that it did come from a woodpecker, from our people. So we pass these stories down orally, generation to generation. We've had our own instruments here in this continent for a long time, and I believe there's many more instruments out there too. And I believe they'll find them. Oh, nice. Got a bird in the audience up there too. So the story about this woodpecker would be this guy. He was really trying to court this young female of his age, and it just really wasn't happening with her father. So he's trying hard every day, trying to show his heart, willingness, what he can do, what he can offer, kind of similar today. And the father wasn't really having it, so he's really became heartbroken. So he started walking the prairie late at night and stumbled upon a tree, kind of fell asleep, listening to this bird playing its tune. And it was a real beautiful song coming from this bird, and kind of put him to sleep. And through the middle of the night, this bird was trying to get his attention, knocking wood chips off this branch and everything. So he kind of slept through it. Next morning, he still, heard this song being played, several other songs, and it was kind of making him feel better. So he started to feel a little better in his spirit, and his heart, and his mind. And then this bird started to show, revealing this piece of branch that started to resemble a flute, size of a flute, maybe 2-3 feet, kind of broke off. Start woodpecking this flute out and everything like that. And then a long time ago, our people, we used to communicate with the animals and other beings on this earth before any of this modernization or our language is changing. And that's one spiritual thing that we have as my people. So this bird taught him how to do the rest of the flute, carve it out, what holes to put on there, kind of tune it up a little bit, and then start teaching him these songs. And then as he's got this flute made, well made, and started learning these beautiful songs, this bird taught him, some of these courting songs. So he started to play some of these courting songs at night outside the camp, or outside his beloved future wife. So he'd be playing these songs at night, and she'd be hearing them, and she was wondering where all this music, beautiful music, was coming from. So one night she was hearing his music again, and followed that beautiful tune, and here was him. She came down here by the creek. He was playing by the creek with the beautiful elements too. There was birds there too, and watching over him. And she just fell right in love with him. Fell in love with the song. She wanted to know who was playing with it. And that song, that music just touched her heart, because she was sad too, because her father didn't accept this man. So they became one at the end of the story. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. So just one of the stories. And it both deals, an emotional process, love and healing and everything like that. So Yeah, I'd like to perform one more song for you guys. This song here I made with my father. He actually my father, Calvin Stanberg Sr. He's a national recording artist, and he taught me pretty much everything I know about music, the flute, the singing, especially really learning music down to keys and playing with other instruments. And I composed this song with my father. I want to, give a shout out to my father. He really taught me a lot of traditional values of my people. My grandmother Neva, I want to give a shout out to her. She really put a lot of teachings into our community. My father too. He was teach the community spiritual songs. So before he taught social dance songs. So, and me and my dad, we sat down one evening. And we just kind of just playing by ear, listening to our keys and stuff like that. And my dad got down on the guitar and he's like, "Hey, play this song and let's see what you got, And so we kind of start fooling around with those two instruments here, and just kind of came out and did something. So this song's real special to me. It makes me think of my father a lot. So.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Calvin Standing Bear. Let's give him one more round of applause. We have one or two more songs we're going to do before we conclude this evening. A little bit about his father. You could support him and his CD. I believe it's on iTunes, Calvin? iTunes. So look for Calvin Standing Bear Sr. If you want to support members of our other family, look at the book by Ernest LaPointe, Sitting Bull, and his story. Come to our powwows. So at this time, we're going to be going into a little bit of a special song here called a Crow Hop. We're going to call out our ladies' fancy dancers. I'm going to dance with them. David, you going to dance? All right, and Robert Hawk. So a little bit about Desmond Eagle here. He's the relative of descendant of Chief Big Eagle. He's also the director of the Hasea Men's Program in Colorado Springs. I myself currently work with Denver Public Schools Indian Education and the Denver Indian Center Fatherhood Group. We have Marcus Cyrus here, one of our gentlemen at the drum. His mother started the first women's color guard in Powwow country. He is descendant of Chief Big Man. We have Andrew Harold here. He's from Pine Ridge. We also have Greg Shortman, the lead singer of his own group called Colorado Crew. So that's a little bit of introduction for all of us here. So at this time, we're going to go into a crow hop. I'm going to join you guys. Hold on. Get on some flat ground, guys. All right. We're slipping over here. All right, at this time, we're going to go into this dance called the crow hop. So whenever we're ready, boys, take it away. All right, at this time, we're going to do what's called a round dance. This dance comes from our neighbors from Canada. They brought the round dance to America when we used to trade with them. So we're going to dance in a circle here. This comes from a long line of ceremony dances from the Cree people, First Nations Aboriginals, our brothers and sisters to the north. Now, when our great-grandfather came back from war with the First Nations men who trained here in Camp Hale, the 10th Mountain Division, they had one of the most decorated soldiers in Canada. It was a First Nations Aborigine. He brought that round dance to Colorado, to the native soldiers here, and we uphold that. But at this time, as we do this round dance, you guys could come join us in honor of our men and women and our families here. And I always have to mention, I've seen it around as an educator myself. There are 3 different tribes who are still yet unconquered. The Seminoles in Florida, the Meskwakis in Iowa, and the Dakota warriors who stood in Canada that were from Chief Sitting Bull's band in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. So in honor of them, we bring to you the round dance. So if any of you want to come up and join us, you're more than welcome to. So if you're feeling the drum, sound man, if you could kick them up a little bit, we'll start the round dance. Make a couple lines, come on in. There you go. Don't be afraid. Come and enjoy the spirit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a round of applause. With that, I'm going to call our dancers up here one last time. I want to thank Phil Gover for bringing his family along. Let's give Phil one more last round of applause. Tara Gover. Let's give her a round of applause for coming on down and helping us out. Her daughter Delilah Gover, our fancy dancer. Our other young lady who joined us is also a fancy dancer from near this community. She's also a champion fancy dancer. Give him a wave. She came to join us today. I want to thank our grass dancers, David Lapointe, Desmond Eagle, and Robert Hawk. And our singers, Calvin Standing Bear, our flute player, lead singer. Marcus Cyrus. Greg Shortman, and Andrew Harold from the Colorado Crew Drum Group. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our Mile High Powwow experience. I wish you all the best to continue your journey. We are also your neighbors. We're also your teachers. So we're here for you guys anytime. And with that, we never say goodbye in our language. We say till we see you again. So from my heart to all of you, we say Dok Sha Ake till I see you again. Drive home safe, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you very, very much, Stephen Point, Big Eagle and Colorado Crew.